All right, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and get started with my presentation. My name is Shayna Skolnik, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of a company called Navteca. We're a very tiny company, so CEO actually stands for Chief Everything Officer. Yeah. I'm sure some of you guys can relate to that. Basically, we started off as a technology company looking at innovation specifically around cloud computing, and that's sort of morphed and evolved into other innovative and cutting-edge technologies like virtual reality and augmented reality. My focus is going to be on the practical applications of this technology. So I'm specifically not going to be talking about the sort of obvious and low-hanging fruit, which is gaming and entertainment. I just want to first find out how many of you have tried virtual reality before? Okay, so almost everybody. How many of you actually own a virtual reality headset? Okay, so maybe, okay. All right, so I'm not going to actually go too much into exactly what is virtual reality because it seems like a lot of you do have some background with the technology. Just very quickly, if you don't know what it is, we're referring to the immersive computer-generated environment. So when you wear a virtual reality headset, you do not see the world around you. You have a complete 360 immersive experience when you're wearing that headset, as opposed to AR, augmented reality, where you do see the world around you and the device, whether it's glasses or a screen like a cell phone screen, is adding some sort of additional information into the reality. So today we're talking about VR, virtual reality. For a long time, people have been trying to change the world around them. This is something that we've dreamed about doing for decades and have been experimenting with for decades. This lovely 1980s photo shows that VR has actually been around for quite a long time. It wasn't very comfortable, it was massively expensive, but this is not actually something entirely new. In the 1980s, the government had many VR programs, both in the military and in aerospace, but again, everything was very bulky, and even though it looks very cumbersome, this was probably a multi-million-dollar, if not billion-dollar setup. In 1990, this was cutting-edge virtual reality technology that NASA was using to train astronauts. When you are immersed in the VR environment, you can experience things that you otherwise wouldn't be able to, whether that's walking along the surface of the moon, potentially exploring the surface of Mars, going to the bottom of the ocean. This setup also has full interaction via gloves that provide haptic feedback, which is something you may hear about as well when you hear about virtual reality, which is actually getting a touch feedback. So that brings us to the question is, where are we today? Are we in the future yet? Sort of. I really think that we are on the cusp of a true revolution with technology. So as Bill kind of alluded to, we're at an inflection point where this technology that we've dreamed about for a long time is finally available to the masses and at a price point that allows people to experiment, to try it out, to see what it is that we could do with it. Right now, there are many different headsets or head-mounted displays that are available. The most basic and gimmicky is the Google Cardboard. Companies like McDonald's have, Companies like McDonald's have printed Happy Meal boxes that can be folded into a Google Cardboard. The New York Times did a huge giveaway of Google Cardboard so that people could experience news media content in an entirely new way. The Samsung Gear VR, which is the headset that I'm holding here, is a huge step up from the Google Cardboard. This uses cell phone technology. So basically you can pop in your already existing cell phone that you already carry around with you, you put it in a headset and you can have an amazing VR experience. This headset, believe it or not, is only $99. A lot of these cell phone carriers are actually giving them away when you upgrade your phone. The next level up from the mobile headsets are the tethered headsets. So these are headsets that run using a PC, but again, these are actually very affordable. All of the headsets that are available to the masses are under $1,000. This is the Oculus Rift, which I'm sure you've heard about, a company that Facebook bought for $2 billion. And then I would say the cream of the crop right now for headsets that are available is the HTC Vive. This is a PC tethered headset, but it is amazing because it actually lets you walk around in an environment. It has different positional trackers that are mounted, and it gives you an amazing way to interact with things via 2 different controllers that you hold. This to me is the first step. Like, this is really where we can go with this technology and what we can do with it. Okay, just as Bill said, they will get cooler. I understand. Right now, this is still a little bit bulky. I carry it around with me in my bag, but I'm a girl and I can carry around a big bag and nobody will look at me. So I get it. They're a little bit bulky. They're a little weird. They are going to get cooler. We've been dreaming about this for a long time. They'll get sleeker. They'll be able to do things that we probably can't even imagine right now. Just as Bill was talking about with cell phones, that nobody really could imagine in 2000. You know, there was a lot of pushback of people saying, I don't want to carry around a phone with me. Like, I don't want to be reached at all times. But could they have even imagined that that phone would become also a calculator and a flashlight and a compass and the internet and all of the different functions that we now use, all of those different devices that have now been rolled into this beautiful, sleek little device that we pop into our pocket without even thinking about it. That's what virtual reality can become. So we are on the cusp of this VR revolution. So is it practical? You, again, probably have experienced or heard about different applications of VR technology, especially in the world of entertainment. There are huge investments in terms of the kinds of games that are available for the HTC Vive, for the Oculus Rift, even for some of the mobile units. Sony is coming out with a fully VR integrated gaming system before Christmas. This is happening. This is already available or shortly about to become available. At Navteca, though, we're looking at practical applications, and I think that's why most of you are here today, is to find out, okay, cool, you know, watching cat videos in 360, you know, kind of interesting, but what else can I actually do with this? You're telling me it's going to become a ubiquitous part of my life, but how? One of the areas, for sure, is for tourism, for culture, to allow people to visit places virtually in a way that's really unprecedented. No longer do you have to sell someone on the merits of going somewhere. You can actually bring an entire country and that experience via 360 video into a very portable device. Also for communities that have accessibility issues, whether it's through disability, through age, or through poverty, you can allow people to experience things in an incredibly realistic format that really would have been unheard of before. So this static image, which was taken from a shoot that we did in Costa Rica, you can see the limitations of 2D displays. This looks like it's probably an amazing view from this amazing balcony in Costa Rica. When you look at it in 360, which you'll get a chance to afterwards if you'd like, you actually get to look around. You get to see the sky, you get to see what's on the other side. You really do have the sensation of being physically present in another place. For cultural heritage, for museums, this opens up a world of possibilities in terms of allowing people to both experience things within a display at that specific museum or site, but it also then allows them to have that outreach into communities that they could have never even dreamed of being able to reach. Which then also brings us to storytelling, to news, even to fundraising. A huge application of this technology, which is really applicable to almost every sector, is bringing your experience to the people. The New York Times, Discovery, the Washington Post, USA Today, all of these major news organizations have already created 360 virtual reality content, and they found that it creates empathy in a way that traditional media doesn't. Now, 5 years from now, we may all be a little bit jaded, and we're so used to watching 360 content that it won't be meaningful to be standing inside of a clamoring mass of Syrian refugees. But right now, I guarantee you, when you put that on and you look around, you aren't human if it doesn't cause you to tear up a little bit. It causes a reaction that isn't necessarily possible just by looking at a photograph. It also creates a new paradigm for storytelling, because now we put people at the center of the action. And so there's a whole new world out there in terms of the possibility of allowing people to interact with an environment, interact with a product, interact with services in a way that we're just beginning to really experiment with and ask questions about how are we going to do this? How are we going to approach this new media? One of our focuses at Navteca is actually on scientific application, and so we are looking at data visualization. Again, we're just at the tip of the iceberg of what can be done. One of our projects is with NASA, and we've taken climate data and we've been able to visualize it in the 360 or 4-pi steradian, to be more specific, in that environment, which is giving scientists the ability to view data that was collected in a sphere, so the Earth and its atmosphere. They're actually being able to view it in a sort of native spherical format. This is also applicable to the medical field, because when you think about it, the body and the organs are essentially many spheres put together. So can we look at medical data in a way that's very low cost and very compelling? Can we see something different if we look at it in this way rather than just analyzing slice after slice of an MRI? Also, headsets can be networked together, which allows for an unprecedented way to collaborate with people all around the globe. If you are a medical provider in a developing country or in a rural environment where you don't have access to all of the fancy and expensive equipment, or you don't have access to the world-class expert in that particular image, perhaps with virtual reality, you do have access to that person. And by the way, they can look at the same data that you're looking at in real time, and you can collaborate and get a consult. This has huge potential for us as humanity, of a really amazing outcome of using this kind of technology. Education and outreach are already a proven way to use virtual reality technology. And again, this is something that's applicable to any sector. Any industry can benefit from educating people about their specifics. With virtual reality, you can bring people to a place. You can show them abstract concepts like the structure of a molecule in a way that you wouldn't necessarily be able to do with traditional media. For young people, this is probably going to be the future of learning. Is it going to replace a classroom? I don't think so, because I really think that human interaction is not going to be replaced by VR, but I think that it's going to enhance it. So when a teacher is teaching a lesson about the solar system, students will actually be able to experience what it might be like to be on that planet, because NASA has that data. We can create that environment using real data and allow people to walk around on the surface of Mars. We can put them at the bottom of the ocean. We can do all of these things. We can put them back in ancient Rome. And so we can use virtual reality technology to create experiences that otherwise would have been absolutely impossible. For trade shows, for marketing, for ways to create buzz at events, we've seen this, just in sort of an anecdotal way of, showing this technology to people. People get excited about VR. It almost does, like even when we were just showing them climate data, they got really excited. And this is NASA with the Mars rover and all the cool rockets, and yet they were lined up to see our VR experience, which was just climate data. Again, 5 years from now, maybe this will be, such a normal thing that people won't have that level of excitement. But right now, It's a way to bring people in. It's a way to create buzz about your specific product or service. And it's a way to allow people to experience something again that they wouldn't normally have been able to do. Let's say that your company manufactures aircraft carriers. You're not bringing an aircraft carrier to a trade show. But with VR, when that admiral walks by, you can have them put on the headset and experience what your company builds, by the way, in real size, because you get that sense of scale when you're looking at VR that you don't get just from looking at a traditional picture or movie. It's very portable. So this is me wearing the headset in front of the NASA Hyperwall. This Hyperwall is beautiful. It's amazing. It draws people in. It also costs tens of thousands of dollars to transport it, to set it up, to take it down. This is a $99 device, and I'm seeing actually the same data. So think about that in terms of the outreach that you can do with this technology. Now you're probably saying, well, what if I don't have a headset? Social media is already set up to incorporate 360 content. So YouTube has a 360 channel that you can upload all content to by scrolling by panning your screen, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet. You can see the 360 content. You can see it on any computer using arrow keys. I mentioned that Facebook bought Oculus, so Facebook is fully operational for 360 content. You can upload and embed 360 content directly into a Facebook site. Okay, I'm showing off a little bit with this photo, but I wanted to highlight the fact that it creates buzz. That's Jamie Foxx trying my VR at a red carpet event at the National Press Club. VR is exciting to people. So the basic takeaways here are that this is something that engages people. It inspires them. Usually, invariably, when somebody tries this out for the first time, after they have that kind of, wow, this is an amazing moment, the wheels start turning and they really start thinking about, well, oh, we could do this and we could do that. It really inspires ideas. It encourages collaboration. It's an engaging way to present products and services and media. And it's actually affordable and commercially available. So we're not talking about something that is only available to the few. So since seeing is believing, I'm going to leave you with a very short video. Oops. Maybe I won't leave you with the video. No sound? No sound? It's all right. It's not a big deal. You want to hear me sing techno? This is just a recap of some of the projects that we've done. It's okay. It is. It's just coming from here. It's all right. This is something that is applicable to so many different sectors that really I'm hoping that this is going to get your wheels spinning a little bit in terms of what you can do with it. I did bring a couple of headsets, so if anybody wants to take it, it looks like most people here have at least tried VR, but I brought some headsets if you want to see some demos afterwards, both of the NASA work that we're doing and also some of our 360 projects. I look forward to being in contact with all of you. Thank you.
I did forget to introduce Shayna, so I'm just going to give her her bio, just so that, because I think it's important. As Navteca's Chief Executive Officer, Shayna is responsible for Navteca's day-to-day operations as well as leading the company's business development and long-term strategy. She's developing and leading a study on VR applications for science and with the NASA Earth Sciences Technology Office, and oversees Navteca's data visualization in virtual reality and 360 content creation projects. She has presented the VR technology in NASA Goddard Space Center and the American Geophysical Union. Also, you're down at South by Southwest this year, right?
We're going to be there next month. We've been invited to South by Southwest Eco to we did a really cool mashup of NASA data and 360 video to tell a story about what's happening with climate change.
So she was SBA's Emerging Leader for 2015 and has been named in the top 100 MBEs for 2016 by the Capital Region. So my apologies for not doing that beforehand, but thank you for coming in and presenting to us. That was
Thank you.
awesome.